Hey everybody, it's the Jake of all trades. I'm here today because I want to talk about dice, specifically the D20 for role-playing games. Maybe you've heard of a little game called Dungeons and Dragons, but last I heard, the D20 was still the primary dice in that game. And I just started a new Dungeons and Dragons game myself recently, so I'm really interested in the topic. And seeing as I have a little bit of free time, I'm taking some of that time to make some videos. At first, I wanted to do one video about the difference between advantage and disadvantage and what that looks like statistically speaking. So I heard it somewhere that if you roll with advantage, it's equivalent to about a +5 bonus on average. And the same goes in opposite for disadvantage. On average, disadvantage incurs a -5 penalty, basically. But I've never actually sat down and done the math myself, so I wanted to. But then I started thinking that I was missing a really big opportunity to talk about some other mechanics of dice averages and values. So this is an often overlooked thing about any dice in any numbered game. Any game where you're counting the number of pips or the number on a die, this will come up if the values are important. And I wanted to talk about that the average on a D20, or let alone any even numbered die, is not what everyone thinks it is. So, teaser for the second video in the series. The third one, I want to culminate with advantage versus disadvantage. The second video, I want to talk about the actual average on any even numbered or even an odd numbered die. I don't think there are a lot of odd numbered dice floating around, certainly not in Dungeons and Dragons. But I assume that the mechanics would still work the same. But we'll talk about that in the second video. In this video, this first video, I wanted to first show you how to average your D20 to determine how statistically average it is. And this is because we're jumping back to the advantage versus disadvantage or whatever, we're talking about what that looks like statistically. You want to make sure that you are using statistically sound dice. So the very first video is I'm gonna talk about how you can go over the statistical average of your dice. It's just a fun little thing to do. Most people don't really care. I didn't even know about it until I met some guy in college who tested all of his dice. Anytime he bought a new set, he would roll them out and he would check to make sure that they were averaging right around center so that he knew that they were statistically fair. He was a long-time dungeon master, one of those you might call the perma game master or perma dungeon master, because they never get to play games that much because they're too busy running them all the time for everyone else. He was one of those guys. So having really fair, impartial dice was really important to him. And so anytime he bought a new set of dice, he would sit down and he would roll them out and then he would work out the averages. So that's what we're going to do in this first video. Let's get started. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are rolling the dice and we are going to roll it 100 times and we are going to write down the result of every dice roll we get. And it's going to take a while, so we're going to speed things up a little bit here. But the idea is once you get those 100 rolls, you can then add them all together, divide by 100, and find out how close your die is, your D20 is, to perfect average. Ideally. And then I apologize for this little circle over there on the side. I realized that I had my name and my phone number on this Frisbee golf disc, which is what I use as my dice pit, and so I thought it better be a good idea to just do a quick edit and get rid of that. So, enough of this though. Now we kind of have the concept, and you can do this for all of your dice too. You can do it for your D4s, you can do it for your D6s, your D8s, your D10s. I mean, it's up to you though. How much time do you want to spend rolling out here? The other noteworthy thing to note is that, 100 rolls is decent, but it's not like a great, it's not a great data set. If there's any like scientists out there, that's not a lot, especially on a 20-sided die. 100 rolls statistically is not a lot. We're just using that because it's a really easy jumping off point. It's a good starting point, and you can always do more rolls. You can do more sets of hundreds with the same dice at later dates, and then you can, average those together as well. So it doesn't necessarily all have to be on the same day. There I am like counting to see how many I have in each row, so I can make sure I have the right number. You need to know exactly how many rolls, and it doesn't have to be 100. It could be 125. It could be 175. It could be 133. It could be 1,437. You just need to make sure you know exactly how many rolls you are averaging, and we are going to get to that part next. And now what are we doing? We are adding all of the results that we got in our first 100 rolls on that D20. And as you can see, the number starts to go up pretty quickly. It only takes a few minutes to get to the end, but we're still probably going to speed this up a little bit because we don't have too much to talk about here. And now that we have sped things up and we are finally at the end, you can see the total that we come to is 1,064. Divide that by 100 and of course we get 10.64. Again, we just move the decimal point 2 places to the left of the number, turning the 1,000 into a 10.64. So we can see that our average is 10.64, which is slightly above average. Stay tuned for the next video in this series, the most overlooked dice feature, and learn why your average might not be as close to average or as far from average as you might think. Until next time, I'm the Jake of all trades.